Pushkin. Hi, listeners. You know that here on Revisionist History, we ask a lot of questions about the systems that have shaped our worldviews. While we're hard at work on our new season, we wanted to share another podcast that hits these points and asks big questions too. It's called Scene on Radio, and today I'm bringing you an episode from their aptly named new season, The News. Some have called the news media the oxygen of a functioning democracy, but if that's true, America's lungs are in rough shape. Many Americans say they don't trust the media. The business model for local journalism has all but collapsed. And we all know about the barrage of misinformation that flows from our splintered mediascape. You can't separate the state of our news media from the other profound crises that America keeps on failing to solve. Hosted by John Biewen, and now in its 8th season, the 2-time Peabody Award-nominated show explores the roots of this crisis and asks, what's really wrong with the news? It's an 8-part series, so you'll want to check out the rest. But for now, here's episode 1. Find Scene on Radio wherever you get podcasts.
If you want all of your data in one place, you need the Intuit ERP. I'm Damon John, and I run my growing business on Intuit Enterprise Suite. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
We spend hours deciding what to buy, but there's a split-second decision that can make or break a sale. Do you have the trust to hit buy now? Agentic commerce is testing that moment more than ever, and that's where PayPal comes in. With 25 years of checkouts, 400 million consumer accounts globally, and the benefit of purchase and seller protection, all of which make sure wherever a purchase starts, it ends with trust. Built for payments, growth, and agentic. PayPal Open, built for all business. Visit paypalopen.com.
Purchase and seller protections on eligible transactions only. Terms apply. See paypal.com/risk-management for details.
Whatever your goal, trade, show, giveaways, client gifts, or team gear, 4imprint has the promo products to match. With thousands of options, from apparel and drinkware to tech and totes, it's easy to find the right fit for your brand and budget, with standout choices at every price point. And with their 360-degree guarantee, you can be 4imprint certain your order will show up just right on time. Explore more at 4imprint.com. 4imprint, for certain.
All right, we're rolling. Good to see you, sir. Here we go.
Asian markets are mostly down today. That's after
dangerous flash flooding ripping through parts of Milwaukee.
This is a Fox News alert. This is our camera angle from our compound.
Americans, if we want to be, are inundated with news from countless sources.
From the New York Times, I'm Michael LaLaw.
Welcome back to One American News. Thanks so much for...
And at the same time, we're stuck in a deep information crisis.
I read the news today, oh boy.
It seems like we're helpless to solve our problems. It doesn't help that we have no shared narrative and few shared facts.
What is happening right now in the world and what just happened to my friend Charlie Kirk is a battle of sheer evil versus goodness.
To me, Fox News they don't tell the whole story.
I consider myself a centrist. I'm not particularly interested in MSNBC.
No, what I'm saying is, don't do me. Don't try me today, Scotty. What I'm saying to you is that you know by and large.
Here's a letter to the New York Post. Yo, ain't worth the paper, put it on.
On big questions, a whole lot of us don't know what's true. Or we firmly believe and will fight you over things that are not true.
Let's get rid of these voting machines. There's a half a dozen people, whether it's the House or Senate, Larry, that are up here as we speak, that did not get elected. It was all bogus.
Just so people understand, wind and solar only work when there's wind and sun. We don't have technology to store the energy from wind and solar. So if you make yourself...
I'm very disappointed in the mainstream media, and that's all I'll say about that.
It's hard to imagine putting the toothpaste back in the tube. And maybe there's no golden age to return to anyway. So, now what? Chenjerai.
Hey, John.
You know, our little montage could have just kept on going.
I better stop now because I feel like you're going to get us in trouble, man. You know what I mean? We got hundreds, thousands more news and news-ish outlets to choose from.
We are awash in media. At least some of us are. But we don't seem very happy about it.
Yeah, man. No, everybody's mad at the news media. And if I'm being honest, yeah, like, I get it, right? Because if you look around, so much of what passes for news out there is, like, not that good. In fact, a lot of it is trash.
We could easily find people who would disagree with you or me about which acts of journalism are the trashy ones. But no question about it, people are not happy. According to a Gallup poll in 2025, only 28% of Americans had even a fair amount of confidence in the major media. 70% of us say we have not much or no confidence at all.
That crisis of trust is a huge problem for American journalism. And it's not the only problem.
A lot of people at first blush might not care about a media crisis, especially if they think the media sucks. But
people need the media to live, right? They need to know what the status of their health care is. They need to know what the weather is. You know what I'm saying? And if there's going to be like an earthquake, they need to know if their rights are going to be violated, right? I mean, it's just like something that you need to live your everyday lives. And also, how are you going to run a democracy where the people are supposed to govern ourselves if we don't have the information, if we don't have any shared sense of what's going on out there?
That's more or less what Thomas Jefferson said, our good buddy. Wherever the people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government.
That's good, because I only try to say things that Thomas Jefferson said. You know that about me. That's when I check the child. Every time before I say something, did Thomas Jefferson say this? Okay.
Yeah, exactly, right. We've picked on him a number of times on this show.
Yeah, but I mean, look, he was right. You know what I'm saying? Being a slaveholder and a racist, that don't mean you're not right about anything.
Right. But yeah, does anybody here think that the Fourth Estate, the news media as it's now constructed, is doing its job? That Americans are well enough informed to be trusted with our own government? From the Kenan Institute for Ethics at Duke University, welcome to Scene on Radio Season 8. I'm John Biewen, producer and host of the show.
And I'm Chenjerai Kumanyika, excited to come back as the co-host.
Chenj, you are an award-winning podcast maker, Empire City, Uncivil, Unruly Subjects, and Scene on Radio. You were my co-host for seasons 2 and 4. And you're a professor at New York University's Journalism School with a PhD in mass communication and critical media studies. So you're officially an expert on the thing we're here to explore this time around.
Finally. You know what I'm saying? We in my lane now. You know what I mean?
You got the paper credentials this time. We're calling this season The News. We're going to take a hard, deep look at the troubled state of the news media in the U.S. and how that crisis relates to the other profound problems we seem unable or unwilling to solve.
Another key thing we're going to do is sort through the various crises in our news and information system and the most common reasons people say they're pissed about the media. And we're going to ask, what's really wrong? Is it what we think it is?
We will do some history along the way. We might challenge some mythology around journalistic tradition in America, and parts of U.S. history itself, for that matter, in ways that could also shed light on how our news media are failing us in this pivotal historical moment.
And eventually, we're going to talk about solutions, what it might look like to unbreak the media. Because the thing is, this stuff really matters. The stakes are about as high as they could be.
Media are so much a part of our lives that in a real sense we're made of media. The media helps to shape a society, but also acts as a mirror, showing us who we are.
And, John, I have a confession. We talk about people being angry at the news media, and of course, folks are angry for wildly different reasons. But when I'm looking at so-called journalism that I see as completely false and dishonest, I find myself getting mad at the people who consume that news and believe it. Like, why are y'all drinking the Kool-Aid?
I know what you mean. And let's put a pin in that thought, as they say. Right now, before we go further, just a quick note for the grammar purists. Yes, you will hear us do that thing that a whole lot of people do now where we say the media as if it's one thing.
Right. But the word is plural. And we'll never lose sight of the fact that the media is a tangled web, not a monolith.
Here in episode 1, let's start with us. Not Chenjerai and me, but us. Everybody who consumes news media, whether you take in a ton of it or hardly any. What drives us as we try to inform ourselves?
That's the question, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we talk so much about whether we can trust our news sources, but can we trust ourselves?
I've spent some time over the last year or so in a corner of North Carolina talking with folks about a lot of things, their politics, what their lives are like, and about the news.
And why'd you go to that particular place?
It's a good question. In one sense, we could have gone almost anywhere. But as folks will hear throughout the season, this patch of North Carolina, which is not far from where I live, is a compelling place to see some of the most pressing problems with our news media and some impressive efforts to respond and fill the gaping holes in the system. By the way, Chenj, I think it's safe to say some of those news consumers you're frustrated with live in this place.
All right, well, in that case, let me take a deep breath. All right, I can't wait to hear what you found.
All your favorite country, played back to back to back. Today's country, the big 95.7 KML.
We're going to refer to this part of North Carolina as the Border Belt. It's an old term used over the last century for a tobacco-growing region that ran along both sides of the North and South Carolina border. A lot of the tobacco's gone. Now the farms grow corn and soybeans and other crops. The radio signals in these rural counties come from a ways off, mainly the bigger cities of Wilmington and Fayetteville. And they sound like it.
So get your Wednesday off to a good start with me, Gilbert Bays, on News Talk 640 WFNC.
Turn left onto North Carolina 41 South.
I spent time just on the North Carolina side, in a cluster of counties, Scotland and Robeson to the west, Bladen and Columbus to the east. This place is racially diverse, with large white, black, and indigenous populations, and long struggling. North Carolina ranks in the bottom half of states in per capita income. In the Border Belt, folks make $12,000 to $20,000 less than the state average. There are a lot of manufactured homes, trailer parks, single wides, double wides, kind of dotted everywhere.
The Breakfast Club. Turn it up. Interviews, surprise guests, music, and more. It's all on The Breakfast Club, weekday mornings on Fayetteville's official #1 station for hip-hop and R&B, The Big Stick, Foxy 99.
Most of these counties are also what are called news deserts. That means they have no more than one local news source. And often the surviving newspapers have shriveled to a few pages of mostly sports and features. They don't print a whole lot of news.
John, you want to come in or you want to sit on the porch?
I talked to a range of people in the Border Belt about their media diets.
I usually sit here and have my coffee, and I'm sitting here on the couch and I'm watching the news. Local stations, which are located in Wilmington, but they carry this area.
I don't watch a lot of news, but what I watch Newsmax or Fox.
I try not to get my news from social media too much, but sometimes I'm scrolling through Twitter and I see something and it catches my eye.
I would still think that a lot of our people get their information from their local radio station too. Whatever they play in between songs and stuff like that, whatever type of news update.
Is that you? We're going to spend more time getting to know this guy, Ethan Jordan. I find him in Columbus County. He's driving a big John Deere tractor, pulling a planting rig down the road near his family's place. I can just leave it here? I climb the ladder to his two-person tractor cab.
You got enough room to make it work?
Oh, yeah.
How you doing?
Good.
Nice to meet you.
Here, let me get that door a little bit better so it won't rattle.
Ethan's in his late 20s. He has reddish-brown hair and a round face.
Drive down this morning?
He and his family raise corn, soybeans, peanuts, and beef cattle. On this April day, he's planting corn.
Right here, well, we farm total 2,200 acres between me and my dad and 2 employees. I believe if you go back, I'm the 8th generation of Jordan farming on this land that we're on right now. Actually, this is some of the original farm we're on.
In front of Ethan in the cab are a half-dozen screens. They monitor the seed and fertilizer he's dropping, the weather conditions, the technology that's doing the driving.
Yes, sir, that's my GPS, which controls the auto steer. You see, I'm not touching the steering wheel and it's steering.
And for the long hours he spends in the tractor, he also has media handy.
I know I have Fox News on this iPad, and I will watch Fox News from time to time. And it's not Newsmax, it's that app that has all the news in it. Well, you see I have Fox News here. But there's an app that I can't call the name of right now.
He finds it, his go-to news aggregator.
It's right here. It's this app right here. Matter of fact, Newsbreak app. And it kind of, you know, I guess it goes through your algorithm of what you look up and stuff like that. Because if you look at mine, it talks about farmers react to Trump's tariffs. It tells me about the local news and stuff like that. I have that pops up, and it'll be anywhere from CNBC to WCT to Daily Beast. I don't know what, but anyway, it just shows, you know, local and national news. And if it's national news, it's more related to what I look up, which is obviously farming, you know, agriculture-related topics. It's where I get a lot of my news from. To say I actually sit down and watch the news, it's kind of hard to say. Now, I will watch it if something interesting is going on the iPad, if I'm in a tractor running it.
Ethan lives with his fiancée, who's a lawyer. There's a local newspaper, The News Reporter, out of nearby Whiteville that comes out twice a week. Ethan sometimes looks at its website, but he and his fiancée don't subscribe.
I've lived by myself. I lived out of my parents' house for now going on the 5th year, and I can say I've honestly never had a newspaper in my house or even picked one up. I know there's not one that's been in my house. My parents get one every week, but...
For local news, he relies on Facebook, which includes reports from nearby outlets and comments from the community. He mentions a recent criminal incident in a nearby town.
We're sitting there talking with a group of friends, and where'd you read that at? Oh, if you go on Facebook, look at WWAY's post about it, but look at the comments and you can see the video. So now you kind of, you know, you look at Facebook because, yeah, the papers and, they'll tell you about it, but a lot of times you can read through the comments and find somebody who actually lived it and see their opinion. And, you know, sometimes opinions are biased, but you do get kind of see more of a real live feeling by reading the comments on it. So a lot of my news, not going to say I trust Facebook by no stretch of the matter because everybody has a different opinion, but you can kind of see the gist of what's going on.
Ethan votes Republican, along with everybody in his family and their neighbors, he says. Historically, this region, white folks included, voted for Democrats until 10 or 20 years ago.
We were all Democrats, and then all of a sudden we wake up one day and we're Republicans.
As much as we all rely on the media to get information and to decide how to vote, it's worth highlighting what Ethan says when I ask who he voted for in the North Carolina governor's race in 2024.
Mark Robinson. You did? Yes, I did.
You may remember hearing about Mark Robinson, no matter how far you are from North Carolina. He was the Republican nominee who lost to Democrat Josh Stein. Robinson made international news for inflammatory statements he apparently made, including on a porn website, maligning Martin Luther King, defending Hitler, questioning the Holocaust, and calling himself a black Nazi. Ethan tells me he had to choose between the two candidates, suggesting it was a vote for his preferred party. But he also says this about Robinson.
I had met him personally. So, I mean, I look at politics different than some people. You know, you got diehard Republicans, you got diehard Democrats, you got diehard liberals, and there's other parties. There's a whole list of them now. I look at the ones like that I've personally had shook their hand or met him personally. And I have met Mark Robinson. He spent some time down in Columbus County, and I have met him personally. So he probably didn't remember my name or know who I was, but he called my name one time and shook my hand. So, I mean, if you feel like you got a close personal connection with him, that's kind of the way I look at it, whether you're Democrat or Republican.
Maybe there's still special power in what comes to us not from a screen, but through in-person experience, the way people used to learn most of what they knew about the world. Despite his conservative views, Ethan says he finds Fox News too far to the right at times, when it harps too much on gun rights or undocumented immigrants. But then a network like NBC will annoy him even more in the other direction.
During the election, it was always negative on Trump, constantly, this, that, and the other. And I kind of look at it and I'm like, well, everybody's not perfect, but the one y'all were pro for, Kamala, you were pro Kamala, like I can find problems with her too, just as good as you can find with Trump. It's kind of, if you're going to tell the story, tell it on both sides. Tell the bad pros and the cons of both, not just constantly over and over and over and over again. And that's where I'd get irritated and not want to listen to it.
If your finance team spends more time finding data than using it, if there's one entity here and one there and one here and one there, if scaling your business feels like starting over, you need the Intuit ERP. Intuit Enterprise Suite is the AI-native ERP solution that's powerful, painless, and proven. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP. Liberty was never just a word. It has guided every American endeavor for the past 250 years. And now it takes form in a new way. The 2026 Semi-Quincentennial Coin and Medal Program from the United States Mint celebrates the founding ideals that have long shaped our coinage. Available 1 year only, this historic collection features new coin designs, limited edition releases, and reissues. Shop new official coins at usmint.gov/semiq. That's usmint.gov/SEMIQ. We spend hours researching products online and deciding what to buy, but there's a split-second decision that can make or break a sale. Do you have the trust to hit the Buy Now button? The way we discover and compare things is evolving, happening faster and influenced by new forms of intelligent advice. But the underlying trust question doesn't go away. If anything, it's more important than ever. That's where PayPal comes in. For more than 25 years, they've been a trusted way to pay. And now PayPal can make the agentic era of commerce work for merchants, letting them maintain control of their brand, their customer relationships. So even as the way we shop changes, the moment that matters most still feels familiar and deeply dependable. Built for payments, growth, and agentic. PayPal Open, built for all business. Visit paypalopen.com to get started.
Purchase and seller protections on eligible transactions only. Terms apply. See paypal.com/risk-management for details.
Hey, Chenj. What are you thinking so far?
Well, I gotta say, I really like listening to Ethan, and I'm not mad at him. I mean, if you said to me, white North Carolina farmer who votes Republican, I feel like I was going to picture somebody very different, somebody who's maybe not as open or really just has their mind made up. Now, I would like to hear Ethan explain why he voted for Mark Robinson, who's a Holocaust denier who called himself a black Nazi for governor. So there is that part.
Yeah.
But putting that aside for a second, just listening to him, I got a feel for where he's at, even though we only heard him for a few minutes.
You wouldn't vote for the people he votes for, you're saying, but he comes across as a sincere person, doing his best to make sense of things, right?
Yeah, like based on the information he has. You know what I'm saying? And when he talks about the news he pays attention to, he sounds real familiar to me. He wants the facts. He wants fairness. And when the news tells him something very different from what he and the people around him think is true, then it sounds unfair or oversimplified. That makes him want to change the channel or tap over to a different source.
We said this episode was going to be about us, those of us on the receiving end of the news. I talked to an expert who has fascinating insights into our biases as news consumers, including how changes in our society have amplified those biases.
Often when I'm talking about this to audiences, I'll say, how many of you would say that your main goal as you're engaging with the world is to be accurate in what you perceive? And everyone raises their hand. And I'm like, actually, it's not. Actually, you're wrong.
This is Dana-Gal Young.
I'm a professor of communication and political science at the University of Delaware, where I direct the Center for Political Communication.
Young studies how people process information in connection with our politics. She wrote the recent book, Wrong: How Media, Politics, and Identity Drive Our Appetite for Misinformation. Dana says when you turn on a cable news and opinion channel or go to a news website, you're bringing along deep desires, needs really, that go well beyond wanting accurate information.
Your goal is not to be accurate because your goal really is survival. And there are 3 areas that sort of speak to survival needs that serve as sort of the underbelly of human survival. They all facilitate action because in order to survive, you need to act in your own survival interests. So those 3 needs are comprehension, control, and community.
As we go about our lives, we want to feel that we know basically what the hell is going on in our world, and we want to feel some ability to control what happens to us. But Dana says maybe even more important than comprehension and control is that third C word, community.
And this simply captures the notion that we are social animals who do not exist truly as individuals in a vacuum. We only exist embedded within a social context. And that has to do with how we were able to survive historically. Even here in the U.S., that notion even of rampant, ardent individualism is itself, believe it or not, a group norm. We are individualists because everyone around us also prizes that value of individualism, which I think is kind of hilariously ironic.
So Young says as we take in the news, we do so, consciously or not, as members of the social groups we identify with. And in a country that's bitterly divided politically, most Americans identify with a political team. We might as well be wearing our team's uniform as we go looking for news.
That means that when we comprehend the world, we're going to comprehend the world the same way that our team does, and we're going to want to comprehend the world in ways that make our team look good.
Dana is talking about general human tendencies, in part, but it hasn't always been like this. She says historical trends in the U.S., in politics and the media, have helped to intensify our divisions. These changes have made Americans less open to information we don't like and more vulnerable to mis- and disinformation. To start with, she points to the sorting of the political parties starting in the middle of the 20th century.
Up until the 50s and 60s, our 2 major political parties were actually quite mixed in terms of policy positions, in terms of the kinds of people who identified with each, in terms of where those people lived, in terms of the religious identification of the people within the parties. And part of the reason that that was the case was because there was this great compromise that was made on the issue of race in the United States.
That's a nice way of saying the 2 parties were pretty much in sync, white supremacy-wise.
Both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party had members, elite members within them who supported the idea of states' rights, who supported the idea of the disempowerment of African American people.
As millions of black people migrated out of the Jim Crow South, populating northern cities and turning into voters, that put pressure on the Democrats and gave them an opportunity.
And we ended up with that sort of great racial realignment where the Democratic Party became the party of civil rights and the Republican Party became the party in opposition to that movement.
Most black people moved from the GOP, the party of Lincoln, to the Democrats. Most white Southerners and other conservative white people, many of whom had been Democrats, joined the Republicans. Other kinds of sorting followed. Evangelical Christians and people in rural places turned mostly Republican, while secular and city people grew more overwhelmingly Democratic.
Such that the Republican Party of today is overwhelmingly white, rural, Christian, and culturally conservative. And the Democratic Party today is overwhelmingly racially and ethnically diverse, secular, agnostic, urban, suburban, and culturally and ideologically liberal.
Research has found that increased homogeneity within a political party serves to crank up the emotional temperature for those on that side.
There is something primal in us that happens when we look like our team, we live like our team, we live in the same places as our team, we worship like our team. There's something really primal that ignites in us because we have such good group fit. That is what has happened in American politics, and it's happened in a way that is not symmetrical because, as you may have noticed, as I described it, in the Republican Party, those identity categories are far more homogenous than they are within the Democratic Party. And so the engine runs fast and furiously on the right in the U.S. right now.
That is the engine of visceral, us against them sentiment. But that's not just a Republican thing. Political scientists have documented an increase in what they call affective polarization.
And that is simply the extent to which regular people, members of the public, dislike members of the other political party. That does seem to be pretty equal across the parties. Democrats don't like Republicans, and Republicans don't like Democrats. It's not necessarily that we become more radical on our position on gun control or abortion. It's more that I just hate people who feel opposite me more, which is interesting.
So, Chenj.
Yeah, I mean, what Dana Gal is really saying is that news consumers in the U.S. are less open-minded than ever, less willing to be persuaded by information that conflicts with what we already believe.
Yes. Now stir in the social media algorithms that feed us rage bait, and in general our fragmented, often blatantly partisan, us against them media environment. I grabbed a couple clips. This is Sean Hannity of Fox News and Rachel Maddow of MS Now. Notice in each case the talk about them, they, the other side.
They want you to feel pain. They want it. They want you to pay more at the pump. They want your energy bills to be higher.
The chief threat among them now is not the rioters in the coops, but the slick political professionals who are turning their considerable talents to laundering violently revolutionary claims that America's elections aren't real.
So when all the talk about so-called political polarization in America, there's a tendency to think that the fragmenting of the media into 1,000 sources, all saying different things, that's the problem. And if we could just go back to a time when everyone watched Walter Cronkite or Peter Jennings, we'd come together again as a nation.
And I'm just going to guess, partly by your tone of voice, but also knowing you, that you're not really buying it, Professor Kumanika. For one thing, I know you well enough to know you don't believe there was once upon a time when the major media told the American people the unvarnished truth on all the important questions.
Right. When was the media telling people the truth about white supremacy and how pervasive it is? The truth about U.S. history and how brutal it is? Or the truth about U.S. behavior around the world, right? And the way America's economic system works, why folks are struggling to get by. And also this idea that Americans used to agree on things, that we really ever had this consensus as a society? Nah. I mean, there was more of a consensus maybe among white people, especially white men, middle class and above, who held all the power in the country.
Yeah, but lots of other people who didn't fit that description and saw a very different reality were just left out of the public conversation for the most part.
Yeah, and if you kind of aren't sure, you want some receipts on that, I encourage you to go check the other seasons of this podcast.
But there are other reasons to doubt that somehow reversing the splintering of the media, if that were possible, would help Americans to find common ground on what our problems are and how to solve them. First of all, it seems a lot of us have gotten a somewhat mistaken idea about just how siloed the news media are. This whole idea of the echo chamber. Here's Dana Gal-Young again.
By and large, political scientists and communications scholars have come away from the empirical evidence with the conclusion that the echo chamber is largely a myth, in that people are not only seeing content that supports their side.
So the usual idea of the echo chamber is that people on different sides of the political divide aren't even exposed to voices from the other side.
Yeah, the idea that you only hear right-wing voices on right-wing media and likewise on the left.
But Dana Gal is saying that's not how it works. If you watch MS Now, what used to be called MSNBC, you see a whole bunch of Donald Trump and his allies and what they have to say about things. And if you watch Fox News or look at its website, you'll see a ton of content about Democrats and the left. Like, that's actually like the major thing that they're doing, is getting people outraged about what the left is doing.
So the question is not, do opposing perspectives get covered? It's, how are they presented? Here's what Dana said.
You are seeing claims that are being made by the other side, but they're often presented to you, perhaps shared by someone who's on your side, right? Who says, look at how awful these people are. This is the kind of thing that they're saying over on that other network. Here is what they're saying, and it is a moral violation. It's a violation of our moral order.
Dana brought up an example. Remember when Ketanji Brown Jackson was being confirmed for the Supreme Court in 2022?
In your understanding, what does critical race theory mean? What is it?
Senator, my understanding is that...
I remember. Republican senators on the committee asked her a bunch of questions about her views on CRT, which was like the, conservative rage issue at the time. And Ted Cruz, the senator from Texas, asked her about an anti-racism book that suggested babies can be taught to be racist.
Do you agree with this book that is being taught with kids that babies are racist?
Senator...
So you had a black nominee for the court, and lots of the questions were about her views on race.
To Dana Gal's point about the echo chamber issue, MSNBC, as it was called at the time, the heavily pro-democratic, anti-Republican cable channel, gave these exchanges a lot of attention. I mean, there's no question that Ted Cruz figured prominently on the so-called, left-leaning channel, along with analysis like this from a Democratic political strategist.
This is about her being a black woman, basically casting her as a radical, as a black radical who is out to get white people. I mean, quite frankly, it looked like I saw Ted Cruz commit a hate crime in that hearing room.
Meanwhile, over on Fox News, Sean Hannity brought Cruz onto his show that evening.
Ted Cruz was with us, Senator.
And invited him to talk some more about his grilling of the judge.
And when it came to critical race theory, she didn't want to answer the question. She claimed she didn't.
So it's an interesting clarification that Dana is making, right? She's saying no matter how much you're in your news bubble, you're still hearing voices and ideas from the other side. Maybe a lot. But that doesn't really change the fact that people are getting wildly different views of the world if they're watching Fox News versus MS Now, whether you call them echo chambers or not. Really, it just highlights how crucial framing and analysis are in presenting what's happening out there.
There's another common idea that people are strongly influenced by the media they consume, especially if it's news that we think of as strongly biased. That whole, my Uncle Ned's a right-winger because he watches Fox News idea.
But it's more complicated than that. Did Fox News turn your uncle into a right-winger? Or did Uncle Ned turn to Fox because he already had right-wing views?
This whole discussion can almost make you wonder if it even matters what the media reports.
Yeah, and I mean, there's another reason to wonder about that. It has to do with our hobbled, corrupt system of government. There was a study in 2014 by scholars at Princeton and Northwestern
2014, so back when I think, well, let's say when more Americans felt reasonably secure that the U.S. had a functioning democracy.
Right. Before the Trump administration launched its newest assault on democratic norms, it was before Congress basically neutered itself and let the president decide everything. But even then, this study found that there was almost no relationship between what American citizens wanted, according to opinion polls, and the policies we get from our government. Large majorities favor higher taxes on rich people, more gun safety laws, stronger action on the climate crisis, and that's just listing a few things. And year after year, our representative government doesn't deliver what the people want.
We did a whole series, our season 4, The Land That Never Has Been Yet, about the ways America's democratic system of government was designed from the start to be not too democratic and to stymie the will of the majority of the people.
I mean, it's not all media, but can't let the media off the hook. Journalism is a core mechanism of a functioning democracy, right? And there are real problems with the way our media system carries out this crucial role. And some of those problems are structural. We'll have a lot more to say about that.
Chenj, when I told people we were working on a season on the news media and the country's information crisis, some people said, oh, so it's going to be about AI and how we can't trust what we see and hear anymore. You know, think AI photos and videos especially. Other people said, oh, so it'll be about the Trumpian attack on news companies and the First Amendment.
And I mean, look, all that stuff is wild, no doubt about it. But at the same time, I don't think anybody thinks this all started with AI, right? I mean,
right.
I think it goes back a little further than that. So those things will definitely come up. But we're going much deeper into the structures and forces that have shaped American news media for a much longer time.
And it can all seem pretty daunting. But I don't know about you. I'm not ready to throw up my hands and say, we're doomed. The news is just a way to amuse ourselves, and it can never change anything because the system's rigged, and anyway, people are hopelessly dug in and won't listen to facts they don't like. There are so many examples where journalism has made a difference and is making a difference. Information comes out and shifts public opinion, leading to change that affects people's lives.
Look, yo, let me tell you something. As somebody who literally, this is what my degree, this is my job, nobody gets madder at journalism and the media than me.
Right.
But at the same time, most of what I know about the world comes from journalism. You know what I mean? When I see ICE kidnap somebody, that's because a journalist reported on it. When I know that it's about to snow or that there was an earthquake, it's because I didn't see it myself usually. And I think as angry as we are, the end of the day is we have to have journalism because we have to know what's going on in the world just to live our everyday personal lives. If we're fired up, a person who's fired up about social justice or feels like something wrong, chances are everything that you know that's getting you angry is something you learned because of some kind of journalism or media. So I think we can be infuriated about it, but we actually have to solve this problem.
Here's a taste of what's to come here in Season 8.
With local county commissioner races here, I tried like the Dickens to find out where people stood, because I'm not going to vote if I can't get the information.
Now, I recognize, sadly, that the Washington press corps is all too often the Praetorian Guard of the left.
No wonder people hate the media.
Depends what one means by left wing,
Wait a minute. If you even address the issues of climate change and environmental destruction, that signifies a strong left-leaning philosophy?
One thing that can be hard for us to imagine is that a lot of news you would actually get in church.
The early founders, they truly believed that democracy was impossible without a free press and a press that people could actually access.
So today, we rededicate a part of the airwaves which belong to all the people.
When you're suddenly fighting with 30 channels instead of just 2 for eyeballs, you start to get the rise of political entertainment.
You're doing theater when you should be doing debate, which would be great. No, it's not honest. What you do is...
The new report is raising alarms about the state of American democracy.
I wrote a piece before the election saying, if Trump wins, blame the New York Times. And I meant it.
And eventually, we'll wrestle with what to do about it all. The News was created and produced by me, John Biewen, with Chenjerai Kumanika and story editor Diane Hodson. Assistant producer Arlene Arevalo. Fact-checking by Anna Pujol Mazzini. Music by Brian Blade and the Fellowship Band, Michelle Osis, Alex Weston, James Nathan Jones, and Jason Hill. Music consulting by Joe Augustine of Narrative Music. You can find transcripts at our website, scenonradio.org. The show is distributed by our friends at PRX. Scene on Radio comes to you from the Kenan Institute for Ethics at Duke University.
If you want all of your data in one place, if you want a single home for all of your entities, if you want to spend more time working and less time searching, you need the Intuit ERP. I know because I'm Damon John, and I run my growing business on Intuit Enterprise Suite, the AI-native ERP that's powerful, painless, and proven. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
Whatever your goal, trade show giveaways, client gifts, or team gear, 4imprint has the promo products to match. With thousands of options, from apparel and drinkware to tech and totes, it's easy to find the right fit for your brand and budget, with standout choices at every price point. And with their 360-degree guarantee, you can be 4imprint certain your order will show up just right on time. Explore more at 4imprint.com. 4imprint, for certain. Liberty was never just a word. It has guided every American endeavor for the past 250 years. And now it takes form in a new way. The 2026 Semi-Quincentennial Coin and Medal Program from the United States Mint celebrates the founding ideals that have long shaped our coinage. Available 1 year only, this historic collection features new coin designs, limited edition releases, and reissues. Shop new official coins at usmint.gov/semiq. That's usmint.gov/SEMIQ.